Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and you're highly welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a step-by-step method on how I actually draft, cut and then sew this bustier top with asymmetric hemline with both front and back yoke and then sleeve with a net, as you can see in this video. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video and keep watching till the end. So guys, this is actually the pattern paper I'll be making use of. I've folded it into two, as you can see. So I've gone ahead to actually insert the basic bodice measurement that I actually need from the shoulder to my bust point, which is 9.5 inches, as you can see. So from my under bust is 12, and then the half length is 15, and then the full length is 23. So I've added extra 5 inches to the full length, making it to be 28 inches, as you can see. So the next thing I've done is to divide my shoulder into two. Shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 inches. I went down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, and then from there I marked 7.5 inches for armhole. Divided the midpoint of the 7.5 inches, went in by half of an inch to connect it, and then divided the bust by 4 as well to actually help in the connection. So now I've divided the nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and then connected it all the way to the downside, as you can see in this video. So the nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches, so I divided it into 3.5. Alright, I connected it all the way to the downside. So as you can see, I went there to label every point so that I will not get confused. So from that half length, which is also the waistline, I'm going outward by 1.5 inch and then inward by half of an inch. Alright, the side that is actually going to be in the middle, I went in by half, and then the other side by 1.5. And then I'm going to also be repeating the same thing from the under bust as well, 1.5 and then half of an inch. And this is actually depending on how busty you are and how you actually want it to be. So for me, I actually decided to do it this way. Alright, so I'm going to connect a straight line from the half length to the under bust, just the same way you see like this. So I'm going to be marking from the shoulder to the bust point, which is 9.5. From there I'm going down by about 0.6 inches. Alright, I actually went down by 0.6. You can go down by 1 inch. It's actually based on your own preference. Okay, I went down by 0.6. That's where I'm actually going to be covering it from. So all these points, I'm going to be connecting them to the 0.6 inches that I actually marked, not exactly on the bust point. Alright, so I'm just going to use my curved rule to do that, just the same way you see in this video. So guys, the next measurement I'm going to be taking is from the chest line. I'm going up by 1.5 inch. Alright, so I wouldn't want my cleavage to actually show much, so you can go up by 2 inches, 1.5, depending on how covered you actually want your cleavage to be. For me, I went up by 1.5 inch and I marked it like that. So from that point, I'm going outward by 1 inch. Alright, I'm going outward by 1 inch and then inward by half of an inch. So you can actually connect the nipple to nipple line all the way to the shoulder line, but I actually did not do that. I just went ahead to just insert all the measurements. Alright, so now I'm going to be connecting all the points to the bust point. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be carving it from there all the way to the chest line, just the same way you see like this. So I'm just using with the aid of this curved rule to actually do that, just the same way you see. So from this side, from the chest line, I'm actually going up by 1 inch. So if you actually want a sweetheart neckline that is actually deep, you can even go below the chest line. Alright, this is actually depending on your own preference. So for me, I decided to go upward by 1 inch and then just make a connection, just the same way you see like this. So I'm actually okay with how it actually turned out to be. So if you want it deeper, you make it the way you want. So now from all the points from the waistline, I'm going to be connecting all the points all the way down to the full length, and then the extra 5 inches that I added at the downside. That's just what I'm doing. So now I'm going to be dividing my measurement into 4. So my bust is 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. I've marked it already, so I'm adding extra 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So these points that are actually marked, I'm going to be replacing the 1.5 inch from this other side, just the same way you see. So now from the underbust, my round underbust is 29 inches. I divided it into 4. I marked, and then I'm going to be replacing this measurement as well. I'll mark it and replace it, and then I'm also going to be adding 1.5 inch of sewing allowance from this side. So now is the waist measurement. So my waist is 26 inches divided by 4 is 6.5. So I marked it, and then I'm also going to be replacing that measurement and then adding 1.5 inch for sewing allowance as well. So now from this hip point, which is also the full length, my hip is 34 inches, so I divided it into 4, 8.5. I marked it, just replaced back that intake, and then added 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So it's also going to be the same thing that will be extended to the extra 5 inches that I marked. So now I'm going to be connecting all the points together. So this is what I have after I was done connecting all the points. Now the next thing is just to go ahead and cut out everything, just the same way you see in this video. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just to label. This is the yoke, and then that's the front yoke, because you're having the back yoke as well. So this is the center front and this is the side front, because we'll be cutting out everything so that we'll not get confused. So now I'll just go ahead and cut out the yoke. So now I'll just go ahead and mark the midpoint to actually know exactly where the midpoint is actually going to start. Alright, so I've done that, and then the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be working on the asymmetric hemline at the downside. Alright, that's what I'm going to be working on right now. So guys, I'm actually sorry I lost that clip. So what I actually did was to mark a straight line from the other side, from the full length all the way to the downside, and then these 5 inches that I added from where that actually starts, I actually slanted it just the same way you see, like this, all the way to this point, because I marked 1.5 inch inward. That's for the sewing allowance. That's why I actually stopped the slanted line there. So that's actually what I did in that clip. So now the next thing I'm going to do is that from the full length, the original full length, not the extra 5 inches that I added, I'm going to be moving upward. I'm going to be moving upward by about 3.5 inches. I'll just mark the 3.5 inches just the same way you see, like that. So I just went ahead to just connect the line. I just draw a straight line connecting the line just the same way you see, like that, all the way to the other side, because I'm actually going to be closing the dart first before cutting it. So I'll just go ahead and close the dart and then use my tape to actually tape it down before I'll actually cut it out. So guys, from the full length line, I went out by 1/2 an inch, alright, from the left hand side. That's actually where the asymmetric effect is actually going to be. And then this other side, I went out by 1 inch, alright. I went out by 1 inch, and then there by 1/2 an inch. So guys, from that point where I actually went up by 3.5 inches, starting from the full length, I'm going to just be slanting it to the 1/2 an inch that I mark to the full length. Alright, so from there as well, I'm also going to be connecting it all the way to the downside, the extra 5 inches that I added at the downside. So this is how it actually is. Alright, so I'll just go ahead and cut out everything now, following how I actually mark it. Alright, following the marked measurements. So I've gone ahead to actually open it up to cut from this dart line first before I'll cut the other lines that are actually inserted. So I'll just go ahead and cut. So after cutting it, I'll also go ahead and cut these lines that are actually marked as well. So guys, this is actually what I have after I was done drafting and cutting, but I later on changed this, so please keep watching till the end to see how I later on changed the shape at the downside. So now I placed the other piece to trace to the other side. All right, so I've actually traced it, but I took it straight instead. As you can see, the other side was I minus like 1.5 inch, so I did not do that. I just took it straight since it's supposed to be straight from this other side, and then I used my ruler to trace it straight all the way to the downside. So this is actually what I have. So like I told you guys, I was not comfortable with the way it was. I was not okay at all, but if you're okay with the way it is pointing like this, you can leave it. So I just decided to use my free hand to just make like a kind of sketch to make it to be bent a little bit, not like sharp and straight. All right, so I used my pen to do that, and then I went there to cut it out. And because I was so indecisive of how I wanted the downside to be, I later on still modified something on it. So I think I preferred this one much better than the first one. Right, so from this side as well, I also wanted it not to be straight, so I was still looking for a way to kind of make it to be curvy a bit. So I went up by 1 inch, but I later on added it back to my main fabric because it will be shortened if it's less than the one at the back. All right, so I later on added it, but for here I actually cut it out. It was a kind of trial and error thing at this point. All right, so now from this other side I went ahead to cut it open as well as to cut from that side as well, because the shape from this side is going to be different from the shape from the other side. So I went ahead to cut this one as well. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. So I discovered that it was a kind of shortening, so I used my tape to tape it down to make it to be even, to be straight, to be even with the other side. So this is the yoke, and then this is the bodice for the front. So guys, this is actually the back pattern. Now I've gone ahead to insert the basic bodice already. So from the shoulder line to the armhole I marked it, and then from the armhole to the bust point, which is 9.5, I went down by about 1 inch to actually get to where the dart will stop, and then I marked the nipple to nipple measurement as well for the back. So as you can see here, there is no zip allowance. That's because I'm going to be adding it on the main fabric. The pattern was not wide enough for me to add the 1.5 inch for zip, so I marked 1.5 for the neck depth, and then 3.5 for the width, and then I divided the shoulder 7.5. I went down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, armhole of 7.5 inches, and then I just connected it, marked bust divided by 2, and then the nipple to nipple measurement, like I said, 3.5, that's 7 divided by 2, and then I marked from the shoulder to the 23 inches, which is the full length, and then from the full length I went up about 3.5 inches. That's actually where the dart is going to stop. All right, and I also went there to connect a straight line from where the dart is going to start and then to where the dart is actually going to end. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to be marking to the waistline, which is 15 inches. I went there to mark a straight line, and then from the other side I marked 1/2 inch. From this other side I marked 1/2 inch as well. So I'm going to just be connecting it just the same way you see, like this, to the 1/2 inch on the waistline, starting from where the dart is going to stop, and then to the upper side where the dart is actually going to start, just the same way you see me marking in this video. So that's the point I'm actually going to be holding the dart. So the next thing is to be dividing the bust by 4. I marked it, so the sewing allowance I will add it on the main fabric. So on the waistline I'll also divide the waist by 4. I'll go ahead and mark it, and then I'm going to be adding back this dart intake on the from this other side as well. So the sewing allowance I'll add it on the main fabric, like I said, because I don't have enough. So the waistline as well, I'll divide it by 4, I'll mark it, and then the sewing allowance will be added on the main fabric. I'll go ahead and connect all the points. After doing that, I'll go ahead and cut out everything just the same way you see in this video. So guys, I'm actually done cutting it, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be just labeling it. That's the yoke, that's the back yoke, and then this is actually going to be the center back, and then this side back. I'll go ahead and cut out the yoke just the same way you see in this video. So guys, like I told you guys, I was so indecisive of how I actually wanted this asymmetric hemline to be for the front. So now I still brought it back because I actually don't want that this point to actually start from the dart line. All right, so if you're okay with it, you can just leave it. It's just me that was not okay with it. So now from the midpoint, I'm going outward from the left hand side, just the same way you see like this. I'm going by 2 inches. I went there to mark 2 inches, still starting from that point that I actually marked. All right, so now I'm just going to still go ahead to just connect it, with my free hand, just the same way you see like this. So starting from there as well, I'll be connecting it from there all the way to this other side, just the same way you see like this. So I'll actually go ahead and connect it. If you're actually drafting it and you're okay with the pointed line being from the dart, you can just leave it. But for me, I also wanted this side to also be kind of curvy, so I went ahead to also connect it as well to just curve this other side as well. And I actually liked the end result, all right, because I was not just being comfortable with the other ones that I was making. So now I'll just go ahead and cut out everything. So after cutting it, I'll go ahead and place it on the main fabric and the lining pieces to cut. So guys, this is what I have. I cut the main piece and the lining for the side front, the main piece and the lining for the center front, and then the main piece and also the lining for this one as well. All right, so this is all the pieces that I have. I also went there to add extra allowances for sewing. So for this back as well, I went there to cut 2 of the back pieces and also added zip allowance, like I said, and I also went in by 1/2 inch to actually reduce the zip bulge. So as you can see, the shape for the zip from this zipper side is actually different. And then what I did was that I also added sewing allowance from this side, just the way I actually told you guys, 1.5 inch. I added half for the down and the upper side for sewing allowance as well. So you see I have 2 of the main pieces and 2 of the lining pieces as well. So for this yoke as well, I've gone ahead to cut. This is actually the front yoke. I've added joining allowance for the downside, and I cut 2 of it because I'm using the other one to turn it. And this back as well, I also cut 2 to each from each side. All right, so I also added extra allowances to it. And when I was cutting the neck depth for the back, I actually deepened it a bit. As you can see here, it's no longer 1.5 inch, it actually went down deeper. So this sleeve as well, I also went there to cut 2 sleeves for the left hand side and the right hand side of the scene. I also carved it, and then the downside I added extra allowances. As you can see, it's actually big here, so I'm just going to notch the midpoint of the sleeve. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be gumming this este or canvas gum on the front pieces. I'm going to just be covering it on the front pieces to iron it, and I also go ahead and cut this breast pad and also iron it on the front pieces as well. So guys, I'm done doing that. I went there to do this breast pad. I covered it, and then you see that 1/2 inch is at the upper side, that's for joining 1/2 inch. And I also covered the este or canvas gum on it as well to actually make it firm, since it's actually a door face I'm using. So now I'll just go ahead and place it and sew it, place this other side as well, and then sew to the downside. So guys, for this back as well, I will also place the lining with the right sides facing each other, the main fabric. I'll go ahead and sew it all the way, the sides, the upper side. So I'll be sewing the yoke and then placing it at the upper side first before closing it. All right, place it from the right sides facing each other and sew it. I'll do the same thing to the other one as well. So this is what I have after I was done doing that. After I was done sewing from the bustier area, I did the same thing to the lining piece of the front as well. So you see that I went there to sew the yoke as well, to turn it, and then I tack it. The back as well, like I said, I sew it to actually turn it from this piece, and then I closed it back from the zipper allowance side. So now I'll just go ahead and hold the dart on my sewing machine. I'll hold the dart on the main fabric, and then the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be placing this yoke on the main fabric of the front. I'll place it, because I already added joining allowance. I'm going to be placing this lining piece on it as well, still the right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and pin it down. I'll sew it all the way to this other side. And I'll also do the same thing to the other side as well. That's actually what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to be sewing the downside following the shape. So when I actually sew the downside, I'll on it and then neatly iron it. So guys, this is what I have after I was done doing everything. I actually went there to join the whole back and the front together, just the same way you see like this. So I joined the side, I started my measurement to join the side, and then I also went ahead to hold the dart for the back. Like I said, join the side, I hold the dart. You see where it actually stopped, exactly the point that I actually marked on the pattern paper. I also went there to fix the zip as well. As you can see in this video, I went there to fix the zip, this side and also this side as well. And also the sleeve, I went ahead to sew it and then fix it on the top as well, just the same way you see like this. So now you see how everything actually turned out to be. I went ahead to fix beads as well. As you can see, following the shape of the front, there are 2 lines of beads, just the same way you see like this. I also did the same thing at the upper side. I also fixed 2 lines, mixing purple and then lilac and then white tiny beads. So you see from inside it's actually neat. You see how neat the finishing actually turned out to be. So I actually sew everywhere and then turn it, and then left a space to turn it. When I was actually done, I still closed back the space. As you can see, for the front, I actually closed it from the sides, just the same way you see like this. So for the back, I actually closed it from the zipper allowance side. That's actually where I closed it. So this is what it looks like. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still here, please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and also share. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.